On board with us again is our good friend, Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center at Akron Children's Hospital. Good morning, Dr. Joe. What do you have for us today?
Ray, how you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. And by the way, that was such good feedback last week you had for us on the Nick Chubb industry. I just wanted to say that. I don't think I say that enough, but you give us terrific insight each week into the world of sports medicine. And boy, you broke that down perfectly, my friend. And appreciate you taking some time with us last week to do that.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. I mean, it's what I do, and I enjoy and appreciate it so much. And I learn so much in preparing for these that come up every week and in talking to somebody like you. So I spoke to a very smart man, very, very astute man by the name of Ray Horner a few weeks ago. And we were talking about injuries to Aaron Rodgers and, the significant Joe Burrow's injury and all that kind of stuff. And, Ray, you brought up about the turf, and it got me going into looking into some of the issues related to the National Football Players Association strong statement where they said the NFL team should proactively change all field turfs to natural grass immediately, now, not wait. And so I started to dig into that a little bit more. The results of the NFL study from 2012 to 2019 came out, and there's a 28% increase in lower extremity injuries on turf. There's a 32% increase in knee injuries, and even more so, 69% increase in injuries to the foot and ankle. They seem to have the research to back them up on this. And many NFL players came out over that period of a few days with anecdotal discussions about how stiff they feel when they even practice indoors or practice on turf rather than on grass. And so there's a lot of debate going on about that right now. And although people are saying, hey, come on, we know that there's great engineers and manufacturing groups that could develop surfaces that will be safer, they're not ready yet. And for the safety for our careers that are already short, the people in the NFLPA really strongly laid down and supported that notion that all fields should be changed to natural grass. A couple things about it, people bring up the climate or weather issue. And that's not as big of a challenge as it used to be. When I was a kid, no doubt, teams were playing baseball and other sports, multi-use sports, and they didn't have the heaters under the field and so forth. So there's teams in the north in the worst of climates, and Green Bay and Pittsburgh and Cleveland that are on natural grass, and they do fine. The second point was that indoor stadiums. And so indoor stadiums are important in a lot of areas, but we've proven that that's not a barrier, as the Cardinals and the Raiders now have indoor stadiums where they grow natural grass and wheel it into the stadium and play on natural grass. So that hurdle has been passed as well. Until innovations in turf, this is the point that most people are saying they should return to grass. One other study I did want to mention, that it's big. If we're going to make statements, I want to look at studies. A study from 2023 this year, the National Library of Medicine, gosh, that was a journal I hadn't seen before. They said that all other injuries are the same other than lower extremity injuries, and they found those were increased. Like I said in the earlier study of knee injuries, lower extremity, foot and ankle are all increased. Well, those are the important injuries for a lot of these athletes who have shortened careers. It's interesting right now in the NFL, about 15 teams have grass, about 15 teams play on artificial turf, and there are 2 teams playing on hybrid fields, but most of the hybrid fields around the world are where people play soccer on the pitch. So we're looking at some of those hybrid fields that's combining natural grass with synthetic turf. One more point I want to make, one final point, is we spend a lot of our time on Friday nights in high school fields, and we haven't played on grass fields in a long time. Most fields now in this area are artificial turf that we play on, but different problems there. I mean, think about the multi-use in most high school fields is they are having soccer games, boys soccer, girls soccer, JV football, JV soccer, youth leagues and junior high school leagues. So many games. We have 1 week or several days of bad weather, and that could ruin a grass field for the entire year, let alone the cost of upkeep is more. It's less money having turf. So the weather, the upkeep, it's easier to maintain turf for sure. So there is a difference there in high school versus the NFL. But that's the debate right now going on, and I just wanted your audience to understand there's a strong debate. And the NFLPA, I think, has a very strong point here with numbers from that original study that are so much of a big difference of the injuries increased on turf.
Couple of other things, Joe. I was reading a piece on this just the other day, that when you're talking about competitive football teams as well, many free agents and players being traded, a lot of them are going to only start to pick teams to look to take their career to the next level, to fields that are natural grass. As a matter of fact, Nick Bosa had a quote on that when he was negotiating his contract. He said that he circled San Francisco, which was his team he wanted to stay with, but if he was going to go other places, it would only be with a team that played on natural grass. And a couple of other players were chiming in as well. And you mentioned the pitch in soccer. When you're talking about the major soccer league, they've already agreed to move all their fields to natural grass. And that's what the Players Association is arguing. If soccer can do it, why can't the National Football League?
Yeah, you brought up a very, very good point, and it is a hot debate right now, and certainly in sports medicine where we're talking about prevention of injuries, this is really, really a big deal, and I think it needs to be looked into in a lot more detail. Remember, NFL players have an average career of 3, maybe 3.5 years is the average length of a career. And so if you shorten that career with season-ending injuries, it's going to be, it has a significant effect. So I certainly understand athletes looking into this issue and their strong feeling on this, although, as it always turns out, the NFL owners, they pay the salaries. They're the ones where the money is made. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and we'll follow it in the next few months, okay?
Yeah, for sure. They're going to have to invest, because otherwise, I think going forward, they'll be losing out on a lot of talent. And like you said, Joe, it's football. Yes, it's also business. And these guys, their livelihood, they don't want those careers cut short because of an injury on an artificial surface football field. Good information this morning, my friend. Always appreciate you diving into the subjects, Joe.